This clip is brought to you by SaveWithConrad.com.
Well, let's talk about what that no turned into for you guys, because we're into October of '88 and how two of the Four Horsemen became the Brainbusters. Arn, before we begin, we need to set the stage in the WWF, which quite honestly is the polar opposite of Crockett. So in March of '88, we discussed previously, the WWF held a championship title tournament at WrestleMania 4. You had the Macho Man, who won the tournament and the championship with an assist from Hogan. The Mega Powers, as Macho and Hulk would become known, wrestled Andre and DiBiase at the first SummerSlam with Jesse Ventura as the ref. Less than 3 weeks later, you and Tully leave Jim Crockett Promotions. So I have a couple questions for you that I want to ask before we move on to your debut in Fort Wayne, Indiana. First, at this point in your career, Arn, did you ever cross paths with Hogan or Savage?
No.
Okay.
Never had, though. There were, as far as working in the same company, no.
Yeah, never had crossed paths with them.
You know, and part of that is, you know, that going to Jim Crockett Promotions and staying for 3 years, you know, that was the biggest reason. Unless they came to us, you know, I didn't move. And that was really, in those days, Paul, that was unheard of, to go to a territory and stay 3 years. Some of the guys like Lawler and Bill Dundee in Tennessee went and stayed forever. But, I mean, you could probably count on two hands, you know, guys that went and stayed and had a hell of a run. You know, a JYD with Bill Watts. If you go back and look at the timeline, I'm not sure what it was, but he had as great a run as anybody ever has anywhere. But I don't think he was there 3 years. And that's just to give you a comparison, you know. It was the nature of the business. You had to keep the talent fluctuating from territory to territory.
The other thing that I'm kind of curious about was WWF was always known to have their big baby face be on top, and then you had that heel factory, if you will, that challenged Hogan. You know, that was kind of what was going on at the time. Usually the bigger the better. What did you then, or what do you now think about having a baby face as your champion? Do you have any strong opinions either way on that?
I think either or can work. I prefer the formula that you have a in shape, great talker, great worker, heel is your champion, and you feature him in some capacity every week. It may not be that he's on TV every week, but when he's not, you got a couple of people talking about him. You know, that was something that always worked that we don't do very much anymore. Hey, I'm going to be wrestling Wrestler X and so on and so on. If that works out, I'm probably going to get a shot at Wrestler Y, and then whoever that top babyface champion is, that heel or babyface, just depending on what the scenario is. And now you say, and I'm working my way towards one goal, and that's you. Boom. So we used to plug Dusty. You know, we would talk about our angle, and then the last thing, and Rose, we haven't forgot about you. We haven't forgot about this guy, that guy. It just keeps, when you're all talking about each other, it just makes it feel bigger, more important.
Yeah. No, I agree with you there. So here we are. We're in the WWF. Hogan's on top. He's not the champ at this point, like I said, but he's still the big draw. Wrestlers want to be on Hogan's card. The business has never been hotter. The crew is regularly running not one, not two, but 3 towns a night. And let's take a look at the tag team division here, Arn. It's loaded. You got plenty of teams for you and Tully to wrestle. You have Strike Force, the Rockers, Demolition, the Powers of Pain, the British Bulldogs. The list goes on and on and on. Knowing that you were going to be used as a tag team wrestler here, what were your thoughts about all these new opponents for you and Tully?
Oh, it's awesome. But if I can just put one little bump in the road, just kind of button up the Crockett situation. This is the nature of the business. When we left, and a lot of people still couldn't believe it when we weren't at TV the next day, but they had to find opponents. And in those days, towns were booked weeks out. So they got Bobby Fulton, Tommy Rogers, Fantastics, came in and absorbed those bookings that was advertised. Four Horsemen, Midnight Express, and the houses continued for weeks because you didn't have social media. You didn't know that we weren't gone until TV came around, and I'm not sure that they really hammered that in a way that made you believe, okay, well, shit, I'm not going to get that match. Bobby Fulton called me on the phone and said, I just want to thank you, Arn. We got y'all's bookings. It's the most money we have ever made in the business.
Ah, that's awesome.
So walking into something positive out of that, if you're those
Sure.
guys, was stout.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Just wanted to, but that's the kind of things that happen.
And that's the kind of stories that we're looking to hear, because, right, we not necessarily would hear about that in the Observer or somewhere else. Like you said, social media, there was no such thing. So I'm glad you shared that. And the other thing I'm curious about here was, if we look at the time frame, your last night with Crockett was September 10th. Your first night on TV with WWF was October 5th. There's 25 days there, Arn. Do you remember what was going on for those days from a business point of view? What was protocol? Like, did you have meetings? Was there reporting? Were you meeting with people in WWF? Do you remember any of that time period?
Just a call, call or two a week. We were trying to figure out gear. We were trying to figure out names. We were going to get some, I didn't even wear ring jackets very much. We had horseman jackets, which I would wear occasionally, but we're getting new gear made, new jackets made. We're trying, and they kind of put it on us, what do you want guys want to be called? The horseman thing's not going to fly. That's over, so, and then they figured out, they let us know another week. I don't know how many weeks out it was that Bobby Heenan would be our manager. And when he said that, bingo.
Yeah.
Number one, Bobby is incredibly talented, incredibly over. And the fact is, all he pretty much managed was top guys. So we knew our position was intact.
Yeah, that's perfect.
So all we had to do then was, for the first time in 3 years, actually have an extended group of days to get rested up, to get healed up. Those bashes over the summer and those war games and all that shit, man, we were beat up. And I'm not kidding you, it couldn't have come at a better time. So in the tanning bed, in the gym, all that stuff, hey, sleep more than 5 hours. Try that on one time. Amazing how that helps.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's how we use that time. We're getting ready, we're getting excited, and it was a new beginning for us. And I was still pretty young at that time.
Yeah, it sounds like the perfect opportunity to just get refreshed, relax, get yourself mentally prepared and physically prepared for now your big WWF run. So it couldn't have been any more better for you and Tully at this point in terms of transition.
You bet.
Hey, it's Conrad Thompson. Thanks for checking out the podcast here on YouTube. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notifications bell so you get a notice anytime we upload some new content. And go save yourself some money right now. If you're in a 30-year loan or you have credit card debt, it's not a matter of if I can save you money. It's a matter of how much. Find out right now for free at SaveWithConrad.com.